there are good wins, there are big wins, and then there are wins which are big. This one was the last one. With almost half the overs to spare, with just 2 wickets lost, Afghanistan have won this match and blown Sri Lanka out of the water and into orbit, and they are somewhere near Mars right now because they really have made a meal of this, haven't they? So Afghanistan registering their points, getting closer to qualifying, of course, because, well, there's only 3 teams and 2 will qualify. And if you win 1 game, then obviously your chances become really strong. So winning this one by 8 wickets. I'm Gaurav Kapur. This is Cricbuzz Live, and I have with me 2 guests who are making this show big joy. Ajay.
Big bore.
Hello. Hello and welcome.
Good evening, sir.
Hello. Hello. How are you? How was dinner?
Dinner was very good.
Quick,
Your orderings become better than last
Thank you,
year.
sir. Thank you.
I'm just worried about how rushed it was. You couldn't have asked him to bat for a bit longer.
I told them, I requested them to make it 12-13 overs so we can really savor every course, and that's why we had to run through it a little bit. But yeah, basically, Sri Lanka made a royal meal of it.
They made a meal of it, yeah.
Yeah, they have. What has happened today? It's like, Joy, you watch some games where you go that one team is all over the other like a rash, and that other team just doesn't check in.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's just first couple of overs. Again, even in this case, the mood is set in the very first over. When they start hitting 6s and 4s in the very first over, there's 11 in the first over, you realize that they're just moving away. They're moving into a different gear. And that's exactly the thing. I mean, we were wondering which tack they'd take.
Yep.
And then you said they probably know only one way to bat. You know, you were talking about it. And that they just did just that. They just smashed the bowling.
Yeah, it was just, what a performance. I mean, look at this opening partnership. Yeah, 6.1 overs just out of the power play. They've got 83 runs. I mean, that's just complete insanity, right? I mean, they've got 83 in the power play. Ajay, I mean, Zazai actually has played the anchor role almost. 32 of 19.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, you know, when you have a small total that you're chasing, you could take it either side. And this time, I was one of those who thought, you know, first win against Sri Lanka or a big side, maybe they'll take a little longer. They'll take their own little time, try and bring solidity. But, you know, they just went for it. And Gurbaz and Zazai, in fact, Gurbaz made the other guy look so as if, you know, he's one of those sheet anchor players. Whereas it's, at the start of the game, you're looking at Zazai all the time. You know, he's the one who would be attacking. His partners change, of course, now, but no change in style there.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, you know, one team just didn't check in, and they weren't allowed to check in. I was thinking of Kunaratne when he came to bowl that 6th over. He must be wondering, he said, by the time I came to bat, the game was over. Yeah. Now when you've given me the ball, the score's, you know, what, 60 something out of 110. So he was literally of no use in that game.
Yeah.
I only can tell you one thing, which is that Karunaratne and his entire family are also top cricket players. They're also top badminton players. So I think he must be shifting. Let me move to the other game. इसमें तो कोई chance नहीं मिल रहा. मैं बैडमिंटन ही खेल लूँ.
आज तो कोई chance ही नहीं. मतलब कोई chance पहले over से ही खत्म हो गया ना.
Yeah,
you know, batting में he, you know, the said, and then in bowling, you know, Sri Lanka, when they started this game, you'd know, you know, Afghanistan is a side that you got to worry about.
Out of the top 12, they've only beaten Bangladesh ever in T20 internationals. So they haven't beaten any of the other teams. They've been playing in, you know, the upcoming teams, the emerging nations, you know, the minnows, so to speak. And today they've done it. So today is actually their first win in T20 as against Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and so emphatically. I mean, just think of it
in their 100th T20 I It was 100th. Yeah. Tomorrow's Virat's 100th, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's his 100th.
Yeah, I think Virat does 100 in everything, yeah.
Whoa, hang on. I mean, I'm just saying, he has to be in the 11 for it to be his 100 T20. Bhai, pata thodi na hame pehle se. Stress ho gaye dono.
Okay, I'm just watching you. I'm just watching you very carefully now.
पता तो कोई नहीं है आजकल.
आज का तो सर कुछ पता नहीं है. अब तो वही बोल सकते हैं जो है सामने. We can only tell you about that, and let's show you what the Sri Lankan bowlers did. They were up against it. I mean, Zazai and Gurbaz, the way they just came out and they started batting, they were just completely destroying the Sri Lankan bowling. They just didn't stand a chance. They, you know, you have a look at it. They were just attacking everywhere. They tried to take the pace off as well in the power play. They tried everything. They threw everything they could, Joy, but nothing stuck.
Yeah, I mean, they
didn't let anything stick.
Yeah, only bowling analysis there that stands out is Hasaranga, who's, you know, He got a wicket. He got even his first over was very decent. 6.33. Given the route that's happening around him is pretty good figures. But again, one of the things about this pitch is, first thing, up front, you're getting a bit of swing right up at the start of the game. The second is it does have a tendency to keep slightly low. So if you're going to run at bowlers like Hasaranga, it's going to be difficult for you. It's not going to be always easy. If you notice, what Zazai's great strength is, he has so much wrist power that he could literally stand where he was standing and hit them out.
Yeah.
If you're charging, sometimes that ball might just stay a bit low, might do a little bit more than you think, or a little bit less than you think sometimes.
Yeah. Well, who would be a player of the match though? It's a tricky one.
Has to be, the one.
Faruqi?
Has to be. I mean, you'd want to give it to one of those batsmen who scored at that pace. But he set up the game. At the start of the game, I was saying equal teams, or maybe you think Sri Lanka. Couple of balls into the game, they were in commanding position.
Yeah.
So he picked up the first 2 wickets, and then his partner picked up one huck there, and so game was actually over there. And then, of course, runouts. How do you give somebody credit for those runouts when they were running themselves out? So you got to give it to Faruqi. But
created the panic. Yeah.
But the stats or numbers will look, 18 ball 40 or somebody 35-40 not out.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick, you'd have to give it to him. And I love bowlers anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's the bowlers who win you matches.
That's right. It's Faruqi is actually the one who set the cat amongst the pigeons, as they say.
As they say, cat among the pigeons.
So
exactly.
Is that your pick as well?
No, absolutely. I believe Faruqi, again, what he said, setting the tone of the game.
Yeah.
What sets up the tone of the game? This is what sets up the tone of the game. The second thing that set up the tone of the game is these two batsmen taking 11 the first over. But by that time, you're only chasing 100.
Yeah.
So really, this is where it happened.
Okay. Would that be it, or would somebody, I don't know who's adjudicating today, could be one of the commentators, could be the match referee, do they go with the scorecard and say, 40 of 18 looks really juicy, let's just give it there? We'll know soon enough. We shall know soon enough. But yeah, let's show you the points table. Just to quickly tell you again, there are two groups in the Asia Cup. There is Group A, which has India, Pakistan and Hong Kong. And then there is Group B that has Sri Lanka, Afghanistan and Bangladesh. So Afghanistan, of course, off to a flying start today. And they've got the 2 points, but just have a look at the net run rate. If all teams, here's my point.
How does Sri Lanka recover from here?
You can't. Because
is there a possibility?
Even
if Bangladesh scores 130, or 120, what would they need to erase that minus point?
They need to score in 2 overs.
No. So my thing is, it's a very simple thing. The logic that they're going to have is
Bangladesh will lose both.
Bangladesh has to lose both. They have to. That's the only thing they can count on.
So you think somebody can beat Sri Lanka's worst performance today? Twice?
Yeah, the thing is that...
Bangladesh... Yeah.
No, so the thing is...
Sri Lanka has to beat them.
Correct. So what happens is Sri Lanka has to beat... So Sri Lanka can only do what's in their hands, which is they have to beat Bangladesh, and then hope and pray, and beat them big. And then hope and pray that Afghanistan... Actually, just beat them. And then Afghanistan also beats Bangladesh, which means that Sri Lanka just goes...
That's all you need.
That's all you need. But if all three end up with 1 win each, then you know that they're not going through. Like Afghanistan has to do nothing now. They don't even need to show up to the next game, and they've qualified, right? Because no matter which way you slice or splice it,
so
they're through.
Say Sri Lanka beats Bangladesh.
Yes.
Right? Because that's the only game left.
True.
So if they beat them by 30 runs, will that erase that?
No, not
number?
at all. It'll probably bring it up to minus.
So Bangladesh in the last game won't have to chase 50% of the runs almost, because when you look at that. So whatever is the margin minus this. So virtually Sri Lanka has...
Yeah, you've gone into common core math now.
No, simple.
He's gone to scientific mathematics.
I think now what we need to do is check the schedule. What is the next match?
Correct. That also depends. Correct. People who are watching this are saying, but it's India Pakistan tomorrow, yaar. Coming, आ रहे रुक जाओ.
कल भी आएंगे.
हो रहा है. कल तो 2 लैंग्वेज में आएंगे. हिंदी में भी शो होगा, इंग्लिश में भी होगा. So you can watch. Joyda will be here on the English show, but Ajay and me will be on the Hindi show. So come there. 2:1, sir, majority. Sorry.
I'm glad you apologized. Yeah? That's all I want.
You can also sell yours. You want to pitch this show, you can pitch it. हम तो जा रहे हैं. ऐसे नहीं कह रहे, वो ऊपर ही जा रहे हैं, ऊपर स्टूडियो है इसका. Superior है ना? हमारी हिंदी भाषा तो हम ऊपर बैठे हैं.
सर आप साथ बिठा लेते हो इसी इंग्लिश हो हिंदी आपके साथ हम तो घोटा डाला हुआ आपके पीछे.
सर ये तो आपका बड़प्पन है कि आप मेरा बड़प्पन मानते हैं.
अच्छा यार
बड़प्पन तो
आज तो इंग्लिश शो पे हो यार.
Today is the English show. Today.
अभी सबने कल के बेचना शुरू कर.
Yeah, let us start selling. Just quickly to wrap up this game, it was Mohammad Nabi who won the toss for Afghanistan, put Sri Lanka into bat. They were just shambles. They were 75 for 9. It's quite a miracle that they managed to get a 30-run partnership for the last wicket and get to 3 figures, because at one time it looked like it would be their lowest score in T20Is, because they were looking like they'd wrap up before 80. And I think 82, 83 is their previous lower score. But they got above that. They got to 105, but just not good enough, because the Afghanistan openers came out without any speed limit and they just blazed down Sheikh Zayed Road, right? They were just going at 200 miles an hour, got an 83-run power play, and that's it. That's game, set, match. So Gurbaz and Zazai, really well played by them. And of course, all the Afghanistan bowlers who did really well. So set up this win, a big win, which has been a great booster shot in terms of net run rate, because that could come into play in this, what is being called the group of death. So that's it. Points to Afghanistan, no points to Sri Lanka, and a lot to ponder about, because sometimes there are just wins and then there are wins that can just destroy your morale. This could be the latter. Talking about wins and losses that are more than just wins and losses and have an impact that is far-reaching and a ripple effect that you can't even imagine, you go to India-Pakistan. That's right. It's more than a game. It's an emotion. How's that? That's a good line. It's more than a game. It's an emotion. But the thing is that this match is also happening in Dubai, which means, Ajay, the ball could do a little bit of dancing. It's a good thing that Indian openers, will be a good thing Shaheen Afridi is not there.
Yeah, but I mean, and no left-arm seamers this time. Is there another left-arm seamer? No, I don't.
Nope.
That's been your worry.
Let's look at that. We'll pull up the squads.
Every time against Pakistan, it's been the left-arm seamers, no Shaheen Afridi. So, but on the other side, you can, I mean, we'll get to Indian side where there's no Bumrah as well, so it evens out. Not evens out, Bumrah is much more important.
Hassan Ali's come into the team, so they've drafted Hassan Ali. Mohammad Hasnain is in the team. There's no Mohammad Wasim. There's no Shaheen Shah Afridi. But there you go, Babar Azam, the captain. Obviously, Mohammad Rizwan. There's Rizwan and Azam have... there's a fair bit of trauma there for us with their opening combination. Fakhar Zaman, Asif Ali, Haider Ali, Khushdil Shah, Shadab Khan, Iftikhar Ahmed, Mohammad Nawaz, Hassan Ali, excuse me, Haris Rauf, Usman Qadir, Naseem Shah, Shahnawaz Dahani, and Mohammad Hasnain is in the team. How much will they miss Shaheen Shah Afridi? Joy?
Look, I just think they miss a left-arm bowler up front, because that just gives you a lot more options and gives you a different angle for batsmen to play at. And they know that particularly Rohit Sharma is not particularly happy about left-arm bowlers up front. Yeah. Those are things that you try and look at. Having said that, this is a really, really good batting side and bowling side, and they still have a lot of variety.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about it is perhaps the rest of them are not that as quick as Shaheen Shah Afridi is.
Yeah.
But look, on conditions like this, maybe it's not pace that's so much of a factor as well.
All right, let's have a look at the India squad, because I know you're chomping at the bits to have a look at what's the 11 that they're going to play tomorrow. Well, we're here for you. We're here. Don't worry, Doctor is in the house. The big loss there, of course, not Jasprit Bumrah. He's not in the team. But let's have a look at the batters. Normal service has resumed. There's Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, KL Rahul, Surya Kumar Yadav, who seems to just be in the form of his life. Write his name down just first up when you're choosing the batters. Rishabh Pant and Dinesh Karthik. Then you have the engine room, the all-rounders, Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja, Ravichandran Ashwin, Deepak Huda. And then with the bowlers, Yuzi Chahal. Then you have Bhuvi, Avesh, Arshdeep and Ravi Bishnoi. So a fair amount of spin going in. But yeah, we have a look at this. And Ajay, once again, Jasprit Bumrah missing. So first is, of course, that's big. But why did he just go like that?
No, I was looking at that 15 and trying to think of one man that you can leave out in that side. Forget about an 11 or anything.
Yeah.
Look at that list again. Put that list on again.
Bring it up.
And just start from wherever. Do you want to start with batting or all-rounders or bowlers?
Jesus, who do you leave out here, right?
Pick batting, bowling or all-rounders.
So here's the only one. So if Chahal is playing, then maybe Bishnoi doesn't play. But that's the only pick. Like it's kind of anything that's even remotely straightforward. You'd pick maybe one of those two. I'd go as far as saying that. But otherwise, with the other 14, I don't know.
No, I'd even between Avesh and Arshdeep, I'd probably look at those two and say that, I'm probably going to play one of those. The interesting one is also, you cannot, not in our current side, you can't, all those three can't play together definitely. So Jadeja, Ashwin and Huda
with the ball
can't,
swinging at what we saw today, swinging and seaming, with that bounce and the grass on that pitch, you won't play three. I mean, just
you
but then
can
you
play
can't
three,
put
but
Hardik Pandya as your quick.
you're thinking of. I'm thinking.
No, we'll get to the all-rounders who plays then.
Okay.
I'm just saying from bowler's point of view. Which are the first 5 bowlers you pick?
Okay, first let's come back to the thing and let's just see the team
He
combination.
always goes back to the
I know
he
what it is.
always
Absolutely
goes
right.
back to the
Let's come back to the team and
It's
we're
not
saying
today, it's always.
So from the first row, you're basically picking. This is what this team will do, right?
Yeah.
You're going to pick 5, 2, and 4.
5 from bowlers?
5 from batters.
Okay.
2 from the middle and 4 from the bowlers.
So
I think that's how this team will go.
Okay.
Right? Is my if
Fair
I just
enough.
say that,
Yeah.
right? Because this is how they usually.
So you've left Bishnoi out. So the 4 is done. I'm with you.
No,
on that.
there's 5. There's still 5. One.
No, out of
two,
the
three,
5,
yeah, there's
Four.
So there you.
So 4 is done. So let the bowlers. We're done with the bowlers for a change.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the 2 here in the middle.
Which
the team
2
will
in the
perhaps. I think the team will go. I'm a big fan of Huda for this format. I know the 2 of you are as well.
Yeah.
But he'll probably miss out, and there'll be Pandya and Jadeja, who'll be your first. If you have to pick 2 out of 4 there, you're picking Pandya and Jadeja to play your 6 and 7.
Yeah, the interesting thing though is that this is what I don't understand. Like Ravichandra Ashwin is a kind of player who you take. He's not a junior, right?
Yeah.
You take him to a tour only if you're going to give him a chance.
Yeah.
You don't take a Ravichandra Ashwin to put him in the bench. And if your avowed objective was to try Ravichandra Ashwin and see whether he's playing or not playing, you would have tried him somewhere else. So I'm wondering why he's there, because if he's there, you should be playing. He's senior enough and a good enough player.
If you play him, a fair point. If you play him, then you are playing 3 from the middle row, and then you're dropping one of the bowlers. So then you brought him and you drop Avesh then.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
He first is a bowler. He should have been in that last list.
Yeah.
If he was in the last list, he had an easier chance of being picked.
Yeah, true.
No?
But
I mean, he's a
batted
world's number 1 spinner.
Batted number 3 for Rajasthan. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but he's world number 1 bowler.
Yeah.
So without a doubt, I mean, I'm totally with Joyda. I mean, if you've got him back after a couple of years, then I have no doubts that Rohit will play him.
Yeah.
Because, Rohit seems to be that kind of a person. He picks players and he's brought people back and he would play him. So, 4 plus 1 ho gaye 5.
Yeah. I'm just saying. So here's my point. I would
5.
say.
So now you have 6 left to pick and taking Ashwin out and
Sir,
putting him
I
there.
am saying the bigger problem is ये bowler तो हो जाएंगे मैं कह रहा हूँ अच्छे हैं ये combination है इसमें man to man depending on conditions. I am saying there is a bigger dilemma in a smaller pool.
Which one?
Which is that when you look at the batters, you can only play 5 out of those 6. Who do you leave out? You've been playing Dinesh Karthik as your finisher. So who are you leaving out from there? Because from this, it looks like DK perhaps doesn't play.
It is easier to say when the moon will come closer to the earth than to pick this 11 now what you've done in the last 2 years. If you look at what you've done in the last 2 years, we've gone round and round in, used up every player that we could have.
Yeah.
And you've rejected so many players and we've gone back to the same batting lineup that has been there for the last 3 World Cups. Almost same. Only when Hardik was injured, it's not there. It's the same team.
You have no respect for Vijay Shankar. I mean, that is the man who's number 4.
but that was 2019.
Yeah.
उसके बाद 3 वर्ल्ड कप 3 वर्ल्ड इवेंट्स हो गए ना
नहीं कितने हुए एक
T20 World Cup, हाँ.
T20
एक T20 एक 50 ओवर
50 overs 2019 that he's talking about.
19
Yeah.
after that we've had how many 2
Yeah, no, after that we had one, the 2021. Just the one, which was supposed to be, it was supposed to be the 2020 World Cup.
so Vijay Shankar was
Which became the 2021
World Cup.
okay so Vijay Shankar is not there
Yeah, but I get your point. It's about
So-
the same. I mean,
so there-
Sky has come into this team.
so
now. It's kind of
it is impossible to pick an 11 for India at this stage because no matter who you pick and they're all good players like we said it's very difficult to leave out and there are players who are not even on that list who could play for the team.
See, Ajay, I think the larger question is, what are you trying to do with this team? Are you trying to still test a team for the World Cup, or are you trying to win the
Who's
Asia Cup?
still trying?
That's what Rohit is saying. Rohit saying I will continue experimenting. Okay, I just want to tell you, by the way, the India match against Pakistan 2020-2021 World Cup, which was meant to be the team, top 7, Rohit, Rahul, Virat, Sky, Rishabh, Pandya, Jadeja,
Yeah.
which could perhaps be the top 7.
No, but then what would you brought back Karthik from
Cotton wool. You had him cold storage. They got him back.
where?
I'm saying you had
so
India
I'm-
plans. He had gone into cold storage.
Yeah.
Then he's come out of that, but it looks like perhaps.
So that's what I'm saying. At this moment, I mean, I feel for the captain and coach because no matter what he does tomorrow, he's going to leave out somebody that somebody will not like.
Yeah, fair enough.
And there's a style of play that you've been wanting to watch. We've heard from Rohit Sharma many a times, we want to play positive cricket, we want to play this sort of cricket. The last two tours where we were in West Indies, and which was a week ago, we were playing 20 overs for 66 runs with 1 wicket down. So it has been so confusing.
Yeah, Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I remember meeting you after that match and you were very upset.
Yeah, I mean,
you were notably upset.
See, because we've seen Afghanistan and Sri Lanka today. You can have a bad game, you can forget, lose. But the way you want to play cannot change every second day.
Fair point, yeah.
And that is why you are in this trouble. You've got Ravichandran Ashwin, you've got Dinesh Karthik back. And now you're thinking whether we should play them or not. Yeah. Can't be.
If they're in the 15, yes, I'll tell you how disturbed Ajay was after that ODI. I didn't watch it because I've retired from one days, so just presenting, watching everything. But he has come and he has met me and he said, "Guess what the score was after 10 overs?" He's playing the game with
19 overs.
First he said after 10. So I guess, and then he said,
one wicket down, or first wicket went down 19th or 20th.
Yeah, he said, "Now guess after 19 overs."
Against Zimbabwe.
He was so upset about it. He said, "This is unacceptable."
Poor captain wants you to play one way. I mean, it's his fault as well. I mean, he has hardly gone to any tours. So when you let somebody else run the team, this is what happens.
That's true.
So we are now at that stage. And so it's a tough one for me to pick. I can't pick an 11 of India at the moment.
Okay,
I'll tell you when the moon's coming closer to the earth.
Okay, done. So, do you want to hazard a guess with your 11? Come on.
Yeah, I'm going to go for it. I just looking at that.
Bring it back.
Bring up the 11. Yeah, absolutely. So, for me, actually, I go Chahal, Bhuvi, Arshdeep. Okay?
Okay.
I'll take those three, and I take three from the middle. I'll take Pandya, I'll take Jadeja, I'll take Ashwin.
Okay, so that's your 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, that's how I got.
You've got 5 batters to pick.
5 batters.
Who are you leaving?
There's no option. I would like to have options, but Karthik is the only person I can leave out of this.
One more you have to leave out, no? If you
No, that's
6.
it.
No, I've got 5.
He's got 5.
I've had to leave out the one I've
You've left Ashwin?
I've left worst about. No, I've left Huda out, which I feel bad about.
No, but Ravindra and Hardik Pandya?
They're all 3.
Sir, I'll tell you.
All 3 and 3 bowlers from
5,
here.
3 and 3.
Yeah.
So that's what he's picked.
Okay. Yeah. And there you left out Dinesh Karthik.
I've left out Dinesh Karthik.
Yeah. So 5, 3 and 3. He's left out Huda.
I mean, if you ask me for a best side, I'd say that I'd at this point in time play Huda ahead of Ashwin. But the point of it is that I think if Ashwin's being bought back specifically for this tour, I can't see them dropping him.
Okay. Sir, you 12 pick कर लो.
नहीं मैं अपनी 11 तो हमेशा पिक करता
तो अपनी 11 तो बताओ. वापस लाओ. ये रहा.
देखो पहले 5 बोला है. अर्शदीप स्टार्टिंग.
Yeah.
भुवनेश्वर कुमार.
Yeah.
युजवेंद्र चहल. रविचंद्रन अश्विन.
Okay.
4 प्योर बॉलर हो गए.
Bhuvi, you're not picking Bhuvi? No.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, you picked
Arshdeep, Bhuvneshwar, Chahal.
Oh, sorry. Avesh you've not picked.
Avesh I've left out here.
He's left Avesh and Vishnu so far.
Yeah, it's only and conditions. No, because I would not leave Ravichandran Ashwin out if he's in my.
So these are your 4 bowlers. You've got Ashwin, Chahal. Yeah. So you've got your 2 spinners and you've got Bhuvi and Arshdeep.
Right? And then I'd pick Ashwin. I'd pick Ravindra. I'd pick Hardik.
So there you
I've got 6
bowlers.
6 here.
Yeah.
And I'd start from the top and pick the first 5.
Okay, there you go.
All right. So we have exactly the same 11.
You have exactly the same 11, both of you. Well done. Exact same कर दिया
But won't be picked tomorrow. Tomorrow would be different.
That's right.
After all, tomorrow is another day.
Yeah. And then again, you look at it the other way. You want to pick a 15 where you can pick any 11 out of that and it's a good team. So that's the optimistic way of looking. So I'm looking at the glass half full. The glass empty in that way is that no matter who you drop, right, and who you leave out, there's always going to be questions.
And the Indian team tomorrow will be, Jadeja won't be there.
Oh.
And Karthik will be in.
Oh, that's interesting. So only 5 bowlers with Hardik being your 5th bowler.
Yeah. This is my feeling that this is what they'll pick.
Here's what I think. Can I tell you what I think?
Oh.
I think play all 4 in the middle because I've seen Australia do that today. You know, they've announced their team for tomorrow. They're playing against Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
They've got 4. They've got Mitchell Marsh, Marcus Stoinis, Glenn Maxwell, and Cameron Green as their 5, 6, 7, 8. As their 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's a good thought. You could bring in Huda and leave
It's
out.
an ODI, but that's my. So when I saw,
so you go 4 in the middle.
Yeah,
you'll go 4 up front.
No, you've got 4 of these who are good enough to bowl at any time, and you've got 3 proper bowlers. So I think
three bowlers.
Zampa, Hazelwood, Stark, for example, right? Those are your three proper
Which
bowlers.
is one different from ours that you've picked? Because you picked Huda.
I just picked Huda.
So who did you leave out?
I didn't. I'm playing 12.
This one.
Yeah,
is
you'll have to
difficult
leave one of the. So then you can only pick three, right? No, if you pick four
or batsman,
five, you can only pick two from there. So yeah, it's tough. Yeah, what do you do? You can't. I'd actually then leave out Ashwin because then you'd have too many spin options. Yeah, because you have to play Bhuvi and Arshdeep. You have to start the two of them, and you have to play Chahal. You got to play three from there. So there you go.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
there's ways of looking. There is no correct way of looking at it, and in a way, I've actually not given you an 11 because they've given you one, and I'm agreeing with them.
Well done.
That's it. Right behind them. 100th T20 international for Virat Kohli tomorrow. If he's in the 11, it's got to be in there. He's not played now for a while. You never know. Maybe I don't know. Don't please then look at me tomorrow. So you said he'll play, but why is he not playing? I have no idea. I don't know what goes on inside the team. Nobody does except the team themselves. But it is scheduled to be his 100th T20 international. And boy, what a big game it is for him. Not just because India is playing Pakistan, not just because of the baggage of the previous game, which happened 8-9 months ago. But also because he is coming back to play after a little while, and after that big candid interview where he said he's not picked up a bat in 30 days, so he's taken that mental break and coming back. There is just so much. There's just so, I think all the floodlights were basically just like positioned on him tomorrow, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, and in that interview, there was a very interesting line that he used, when they were talking about this shooting bait and what's happening, that life has come back to normal. So when Virat Kohli starts scoring runs, life will come back to normal. I hope that's also the case tomorrow, because life's not been normal for the last couple of years, not just for him or for the rest of the world. So if the life's coming back to normal, then one thing normal is when Virat Kohli walks out to bat, he generally scores runs.
And against Pakistan, though, he does. This really brings the best out of him, this opposition.
Absolutely. I think, look, if you look at the last match that we lost, that same, the World Cup, in similar, same part of the world, the thing was they had nothing to lose and we had everything to lose. There was a lot of pressure. By being India, by representing 1.3 billion people, by being the richest cricket nation in the world, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. You can't help it. That pressure comes. But also what happened was you had a lot of players who were at a particular age or a particular form situation where they couldn't play freely. They were playing within themselves. And Pakistan didn't. They played, brave cricket. They played cricket because they thought, India, we've never beaten India in a World Cup. So it doesn't matter. If we lose today, nobody will say anything to us. I think so that position has now changed.
Yeah.
You're looking at a situation where Pakistan's rusty because they haven't really played T20 cricket. Their scheduling has been terrible. For a year in which you're going to play a T20 World Cup, to play one T20 match so far is ridiculous. But they're a very set side and they're a calm side in that sense because, they're led by Babar Azam who's calm, who's,
chill guy.
Yeah, exactly. And so unlike what Pakistan cricket is used to. He's just the antithesis of the Shoaib Akhtars of the world. And, so that's what he brings. But I think if this Indian side can play, because Surya Kumar Yadav will go there without pressure.
Yeah.
But a Virat and Rohit will battle questions about their form and pressure. And they have to put that behind them. They're big enough players and classy enough players to do that. But it is tougher for them than it is for youngsters to just go there and blaze away. That's my big worry for this team. Not the lack of talent, but the fact of, are you scared of losing or do you want to win?
Fair enough.
That's a big difference.
And the opposition does that, right? I mean, Ajay, you've been part of
it does that, but
it's always more than just a game, right?
Yeah, but our side's the same. Our batting is the same that, the match that he's referring to.
Yeah.
And from there on, if you see today, I'm glad that he brought that point. In fact, we are in a worse position than that. KL Rahul hasn't, he's been injured, he's been out.
Yeah.
He came back, he tried getting some game time in Zimbabwe, he didn't. Virat Kohli has not played at all. So, that's an open band lifafa. So, from that point of view, Rohit Sharma, maybe last year he was still in a better form than that he's been in.
Yeah.
Surya Kumar Yadav's just been in another world at the moment. He's the only one who's been playing regularly. So
Rishabh is hit or miss.
Rishabh,
He hates
the only two people from that game who are probably batting better. I mean, I'm still sticking to batting. Is probably Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya has just been superb. But the problem here is that he's been superb at 3 or top of the order. Whereas now, if we play the side that we are talking, he goes back to 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
6 or 7, and 6 and 7 is a total different game. He hasn't looked as good at 6 and 7 that he's looked at 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And so Ravindra is the only one, but I think he won't end up playing. So from that point of view, we are in a worse position than we were against when we played them last.
Wow.
The bowling point of view, the fast bowlers are pretty much similar. Bumrah's not there.
Yeah.
So, you put everything on basically Chahar and Chakravarti the last time we lost. Because if you think of it, everything else remains the same. Arshdeep is the new guy who comes in. And if Bumrah was around and if you were picking this team, we would have probably had to leave him out.
Yeah.
So you would have gone back to the same side there.
Gee.
So, an India-Pakistan game or, any World Cup game, any pressure game, and this is ultimately, pressure and more mental than anything else, is all about how you start.
Yeah.
It is all about how the game starts. Whether you're batting first or you're bowling
the
first.
first punch.
It is the first punch, and the first punch, not the aggressive punch. It is always the solid punch, whoever brings the solid punch into this game.
Yeah.
Whether you're bowling first, if you pick up wickets, it's not just a slow start that the opposition. If the opposition gets a slow start but no wickets, then that's a solid punch. When you're batting, it's not 4 overs, 58 you've got, but you lose 2 wickets there, you could be back to 0. So the first punch in any pressure game is solidity that I look for.
Yeah.
And that's the only worry that I have, that we are wanting to play a brand of cricket which our great players are not known for. Our greatest players that are playing in this side are not the most aggressive players that we have in India.
Yeah.
They are the most solid, most consistent, but we don't want them to play like that. So I'm at the moment confused, and that's why it's been very difficult to even pick an 11 or think how they're thinking.
Well, it's a good point. About
If I want, it's like not me. Ask anybody who's watching cricket over the years. If you want fastest strike rate out of these 7, who would you send up the order? Not the ones who are going to go in, the ones who are going to be at the back.
Yeah.
You want the most solid team and then accelerate at the end, then you want these guys to go in. So who's going to go in?
So have you basically cast the correct players depending on the movie that you want to make, right? Because the script is demanding something else, but the actors that are being cast are something else. And it's not even like the film industry, right?
No.
They're not relatives of the producer, so you have to cast them.
Not only that, the other point is that you can't not cast them. That's the problem.
Yeah, you have to,
No,
correct.
but you cast them, but then you want them to play like that. Why do you want them to play?
Correct.
It's
Script, sir, for script correct honi chahiye. Script correct nahi. But anyway, listen, here's the thing.
It's a confusing...
We're talking about so much experimentation. I've tried so many things, and it seems to be that same 11 back again. So this just
Which is the best?
Sometimes,
I mean, I have no doubts in my mind.
sometimes what happens is that sometimes you go so far away from home that you come back home, right? Because dunya goal hai. Right? Just come back. I think that's what's happened. And that's what happens with you with Cricbuzz Live. You go far away from us when we finish, only to come right back here again tomorrow at 7 p.m. because we'll be here. That's right. In English और हिंदी में शाम को 7 बजे मेरे और अजय भाई के साथ होंगे. कल कौन है? वीरू आ रहा है? वीरेंद्र सहवाग होंगे हमारे साथ. That's right. हम दो और वीरेंद्र से आपके कप्तान आपके कप्तान होंगे वहां पे.
क्रिकबज़ के कप्तान.
और यहाँ पे होंगे तने तिवारी और जॉय भट्टाचार्य and Parthiv Patel. That's right.
PPpedia. Yeah.
You'll be here. Sir, tomorrow you're with millennials. PP and TT. Both millennials.
Oh, man. Yeah, but PP will remain a millennial even in the 22nd century. I mean, look what he has, how youthful he looks. He'll still be a millennial.
That's right. I think the two, and it's the two of them, I don't know what will happen to the show. They may make you dance on a reel or something. So I'm just saying, तैयारी करके आना कल.
Thank you for warning.
सर ये जवान बच्चे हैं, पता नहीं आजकल के बच्चों का क्या करने लगते हैं. जब भी देखो रील शुरू हो जाती है उनकी. डांसिंग का हमको भी शौक है, मेरे को और अजय भाई को.
चलो हिंदी
हम भी करते हैं, ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है. We're going to see you tomorrow, but before that, one last piece of business, the Joy Factor question and answer. Let's have a quick look at that. Sir,
What was Travis Head, the last person to achieve in Test cricket, a feat accomplished in Brisbane during the 21-22 Ashes? He was the last to score a century in a single session. So it was the 3rd session, and he's got a century. Of course, it was an extended, but I mean, just to be able to score within 2 hours to score a century is a huge thing, and
Wow.
just
That was a good 100, I remember that.
yeah. I mean, the last Indian to do it, I think Rishabh did it, and after that, Rishabh was the last to do it. No, I think there was somebody who after him as well.
Didn't Hardik do it in Sri Lanka once? Was that a one session?
No, not in a
century?
test match. I don't think.
That was a test in Gaul, if I remember correct. He did a...
I will check up. You might have
बताओ
got me.
जल्दी बताओ क्या कर रहे हो अभिमन्यु
Rishabh.
बताओ
That would be before Rishabh, even if that's the
अभिमन्यु
case. वो
हाँ? अभिमन्यु को चक्कर भी बता दिया मैंने
No, Shikhar is done. The last Shikhar is it.
Shikhar has hit his first century, no? Was a one session century.
One session and first session.
First session.
Mohali.
Century before lunch.
Mohali, first session.
क्या खाओगे लंच के लिए हमारा तो पेट भर चुका है सारे बॉलर के अरमान खा लिए हमने all right well let's see who the correct answer came in from do you get lots of
I think we've got quite a few. Suryansh Sethi, I haven't seen this name before.
नहीं मैंने देखा है सर ये बहुत
नहीं Suryansh है correct
ये
he was
this
the last
was in
series.
last series कौन सी की थी हमने यहाँ पे इंग्लैंड वाली सीरीज में या साउथ अफ्रीका वाली सीरीज में ये थे यहाँ पे
Perfect.
का नाम आया था
Excellent. So I missed his name. Excellent. Well done, Suryansh.
Yeah, well done. Okay, well, that's all we have time for. Time for us to wrap up and get out of here. After all, Saturday night, you know, we're all party animals. We've got a party. We're going to be asleep in like 20 minutes. But
Parties tomorrow evening.
Parties tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. right here on Cricbuzz Live. Big thank you to Joy Bhattacharya and Ajay Jadeja. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
It's my pleasure as well.
And we must thank the Sri Lankans as well.
That's right, because they have increased our pleasure by finishing the game early. So thank you. More sleep is more pleasure. I'm Gaurav Kapur. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to see you tomorrow. Good night.